Hello everyone, welcome back to our subject Computer Organization and Architecture. In the previous topic we have seen about integer division. So integer division is carried out by two algorithm. One is restoring algorithm and the other is non-restoring algorithm. Okay, and with that today we are going to see floating point numbers and operations. So it's entirely a new topic. So far we have discussed about addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all are of whole numbers, integer numbers. So now this topic we are going to see about floating point numbers. Okay, how floating point numbers are stored in the register and how the operations are carried out by the processor. Okay, so inside the processor ALU will do all the thing. So how the circuitry design for carrying out the floating point numbers, we are going to see it in today's topic. Okay, it's quite interesting and some calculations are involved, so you have to you have to have a close attention to this topic. Okay, so otherwise it will be a bit confusing since n number of calculations are involved. You have to pay more attention. Okay, so with that note we'll move to the topic. Okay. So when speaking about the fractions, so we are saying about handling real numbers. So far we have handled about the whole numbers. So real number means that will have the decimal point. Okay, so if you take the number line like this one. Okay, so if you take the number line, so we'll the number line, if we assume if it starts with a 0, this is 1 and this is number 2. Okay, so within this 1 and 2 there is 1 and 2 is a finite number, but within this 1 and 2 there is a lot of infinite numbers are there, is it not? So 1.1, 1.01, 1.001, it goes on like that, is it not? So in computer system we need to represent the number in a fixed bit representation. Oh, yes or no? So floating point numbers mainly to handle the scientific operations. Okay, so to get more accuracy, so we need if we want to represent something in between 1 and 2, so 1.5, 1.7, those are not possible in integer numbers, whole numbers. So to get more accuracy of any scientific calculation, the number must be represented in floating point. So floating point means with the decimal representation. Okay, so with that note we will have a quick recap on binary number systems. Okay, so suppose if B is a binary vector, it means if the numbers are represented in zeros and ones. Okay, so assume there is a 4-digit number like this, 0010. So it could be interpreted as an unsigned integer. Unsigned integer means the positive number. Okay, so how to represent in decimal notation? So it's nothing but this bit b0. b0 is 0 into 2 power 0, and here 1 into 2 power 1 plus 0 into 2 power 2 plus 0 into 2 power 3. So as a whole we will be getting this one into 2 power 1 is nothing but number 2. So number 2 is the unsigned integer number. Okay, so for this given example 0010. Okay, so the this vector can be implicit, has an implicit binary point. Okay, binary point at its immediate right. So there is an implicit binary point over here, so its representation is given like this. Okay, of course this is like a whole number. Okay, so not a real number, so it is implicitly understood there is a decimal point to its right. So similarly, if we have the decimal point to its left, then it is said to be a fraction, is it not? So okay, so it is understood that if the decimal point is in the left, and whose decimal representation will be like this. Okay, so for example, if I have dot 1 1. Okay, so this is the fraction number. Since the decimal point is left of this number, so its decimal representation will be like this. So 1 into 2, this is 2 power minus 1. Okay, 2 power minus 1, and this is 1 into 2 power minus 2. Okay, so that's nothing but dot 1 in, so this is nothing but 1 by 2. 1 by 2 is 0.5, and 1 by 2 by 1 by 2 power 2 is 1 by 4, and 1 by 4 is nothing but in decimal representation it is 0.25. So binary representation point 1 1 is equal to, in decimal representation it is nothing but 0.75. So its calculation is given here like this. So Bina here, so it starts from after this decimal point, this is nothing but binary digit. If it is represented as 32-bit number, it ranges from 0 to 31, is it not? So that's the representation given here. B31 into 2 power minus 1 plus B30 into 2 power minus 2, likewise it goes on up to minus 32, because here we are starting from not 0. So here after decimal point we are starting from minus 1. Okay, so minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 up to minus 32 if the register size is of 32 bit. Okay, so this is something about implicit binary point in the decimal number system, that is placed left or the right side. Okay, and for doing scientific calculation, the thing which we have seen so far in the previous topic is a fixed point representation. Fixed point representation means the point, the decimal point is immediate right or to the immediate left. Okay, so in the previous topic we have seen, no, so after decimal point we have some numbers, or after I mean so the decimal point in the previous example we have seen that follows immediately right or to the left of the given binary system. So that we are saying as a fixed point representation. So the drawback of fixed point representation is, so only we could represent a finite range of numbers. Okay, so finite range in the sense only limited limited in size. So we could not represent something like in decimal 1.5, 1.05, 1.005 likewise. Okay, so to overcome this disadvantage of fixed point representation, we have the scientific notation which is represented like this. Okay, so m1 dot dot m2, m3, m4 etc. Then into b to the power some numbers. Okay, so here its component name is represented, where these m1, m2, m3, these are said to be technically the term mantissa. So these things represent the significant digits and implied base, and b is nothing but the base. For binary system the base is 10, and for for binary system the base is 2, since it is having only zeros and ones, only two numbers are allowed in binary system. So its base is 2, and for decimal the base is 10 likewise. Okay, and here the power in the sense plus or minus exponent. The exponent will range from minus both positive and negative value. Okay, this is how we will represent in floating point. Okay, real numbers we could represent in this manner, so scientific notation. Okay, floating point number or real number in mathematics we used to say. In computer terminology we are saying as a floating point number. So the main advantage of that is using floating point number we can represent a very large number or a very small number. So this is not possible in fixed point. Okay. Mainly these numbers are expressed in scientific notation, as we have seen in the previous slide. Okay. So most modern computers will adopt some standard for representing this floating point number. So that standard is nothing but IEEE. Sorry, I was about to convert this to pen. IEEE 757. Okay. Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. Okay. So this is this IEEE expansion. So there is this is an organization which standardize many things. Here the floating point representation in a computer system is standardized by this IEEE 754. Okay. So it avails two ways of representing the floating point. Okay. So these two are quite important. Okay. This is the thing we are going to see it. Okay. So IEEE recommends two representation of floating point. One is using the 32-bit number called as single precision, and the other is 64-bit double precision. Okay. So the difference is in double precision the range of expressing the value is very high when compared to the single precision. Okay. So 32-bit means the register it utilizes 32-bit in size. Okay. Here the 64-bit means the floating point will be represented with the range of 64 bits. Okay. So both the thing we are going to see in detail about today's topic. Okay. So before that we will have a quick recap on how to convert floating point to decimal number and decimal number to binary number to decimal and decimal to binary. So because without this knowledge it's quite difficult to follow the further slides. Okay. Have a quick recap how to convert a binary number to decimal number. So this is the binary number which is represented using the binary point. Okay. So when we have 2.5 means that point we are saying as a decimal point, because 2.5 is represented in a decimal system with base 10. So here this dot we are saying as a binary point. Okay. So this the left of binary point needs different way of calculation, and the right of binary point needs different way of calculation. So far we have seen only about this part with the implicit dot in the binary point in the right side of this number, is it not? So here we could represent directly the binary to decimal as usual normal flow. So 0, so in this position it's nothing but 2.0, 2.1, and this is 2 so this is 2 power 0, 2 power 1, its bit position is 2 power 2. So that's nothing but 4 plus 2 plus 2 power 0. I think 2 power 0 is 1, but it is 0. 0 into 2 power 0 is 0. Okay. So 1 into 2 power 1 is 2. 1 into 2 power 4 is 4. Okay. So totally this value is 6. And coming to the after binary point, so how to calculate it? So after the binary point we need to go for division method like this. Okay. So 1 into 2 power minus 1, 0 into 2 power minus 2, 1 into 2 power minus 3. Okay. So this is nothing but 1 by 2, that's 0.5 plus 0 into 0.25 plus 1 into 0.125. So it's nothing but this one. Okay. 6.625 is represented in the binary format like this. Okay. And let's have the reverse of that. Decimal to binary conversion. So this is the decimal number, since base 10 is given here. So base 10 means it's decimal, it's a decimal number. Here base 2, it means binary number. So how to convert decimal to binary number? So here after the decimal point. Okay. So when for the whole number we need to go for division method, and here for this decimal representation take the number right of it and multiply by 2 and get the quotient over here. Okay. So when we multiply 0.625 into 2 we will get 1.250. Okay. You reserve this and just go for multiplying this decimal point alone. 0.25 into 2 is 0.500, and its value is 0. Okay. So here next 0.500 into 2, that's nothing but 1.00. okay. So after before the decimal point, whatever the thing we are getting, that one we are going to represent it until we reach after the decimal point all zeros. okay. So it's then you have to write it down from top to bottom manner. 0.102. okay. 102 is its equivalent representation for this binary number 0.625. okay. So with this little note on this conversion, we will go in deep about single precision floating point and double precision floating point. okay. So these two ways are today in use by the all modern computer system for representing the floating point numbers, either in 32-bit representation or 64-bit representation. So in 64-bit representation, the floating point has something called as let me convert into pencil. So floating point is represented in a format called as sign representation, then exponent, then followed by mantissa. okay. So mantissa is nothing but the significant digits in the given number. okay. All in terms of binary. okay. Both single precision and double precision or as an have an implied base of 2. okay. It means it is represented in binary system. okay. So in single precision, so the number of digits given for mantissa is 23-bit and 8-bit is allocated for exponent. In X is 127 representation. okay. So this one I will make you clear in the forthcoming slides. Just have a note in your mind that single precision has an 8-bit exponent in X is 127 representation. Similarly for double precision, the register size is of 64-bit with 52-bit allotted for mantissa representation and 11-bit exponent. 11-bit is allotted for representing the exponent with X is 1023 representation. okay. So I will take you what these things are in the forthcoming slides. And in IEEE standard, floating points can be represented in two ways, like fractional form and implicit normalized form. Fractional form means simply it is like this. okay. So there is no exponent is represented 2 power 20, 2 power minus 2, 2 power minus 30. Likewise, nothing is represented here. Simply the fractional form alone represented. So this is one way of representing the floating point, and the other way is implicit normalized form. So what does it mean, implicit normalized form? Means the MSB of the mantissa. MSB you will be knowing it. Most significant bit of the mantissa is 1 in IEEE notation. okay. In under implicit normalized form, the MSB of the mantissa is 1 and the IEEE notation does not store this bit. okay. So there is no space allocated to store this MSB of mantissa 1, because it is understood that it should be always 1. okay. So for example, I could relate this one to our postal address. So if we have a postal address, means we usually at the end we usually say the city, state. okay. Sometimes the country, we will limit up to country like Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, then India, that's it. Even of course we can extend it to till Asia, that's it. We won't extend after that Asia as earth, is it not? So there is only one earth, so it's an implicit, it is understood, no need to mention the earth concept, is it not? So likewise in IEEE notation, the implicit normal form is nothing but so the MSB of mantissa is always 1. okay. If it is not, means we need to normalize it. okay. We have to make it as 1. So it is implicitly understood there is always 1 in the MSB of the mantissa in IEEE notation. So that's what IEEE notation doesn't allocate the allocate the space to store that mantissa 1. okay. So for example, if the mantissa I mean implicit representation is like this, 1.0110. okay. So this is implicitly understood. okay. So before the decimal point there is always 1, that's the meaning. okay. So the binary point is placed to the right of first non-zero, so this is not 0, okay, so it should be 1, okay. So the binary point, this is the binary point where it is placed right of this one, right of this significant bit, this number, then this way of representation is said to be normalized form, okay. So implicit normalized form, then we will be concentrating on only these things after the decimal point, because it is understood that IEEE format should always have this normalized representation, okay. There must be always a there must always be a non-zero, okay, and that means there must always a number to the right of this binary point, okay. That's the concept given, okay. So that's it about representing the floating point in IEEE format in two ways, fractional form or implicit normalized form, okay. So implicit normalized form, so here the number is not of very big or very small, so it's like a casual operation, and here we are going to concentrate in this topic about this implicit normalized form in both single precision and double precision format, okay. And this is the representation in single precision, okay. The whole size is of 32 bit, okay. So this entire size is represented by a 32 bit memory register, and in this 32 bit it is divided into three components. The first one bit is MSB, this is MSB. MSB 1 bit is allocated to for sign, okay. So this is not 0 or 1, this is the number of bits allotted, okay. For sign bit is only 1 bit, then remaining 31 bits are there. In this 31 bit, 8 bit is allocated to represent the exponent, and the remaining bit 23 is allocated for representing the mantissa, okay. So if in today's modern computer system, this is how the floating point numbers is represented in the register, okay. So how the values are interpreted means it will be like this. So the sign bit here, it will be either both positive or negative. So that's what here this symbol is given here for representing this value, okay, plus or minus 1 dot, okay. So it is understood the implicit normalized form, okay. It should be always 1 dot, this mantissa part, okay, mantissa into 2 power, so binary system, it is implied of base 2, okay. Both single precision and double precision is of base 2, it will work on binary system, and 2 to the power e dash minus 127. E dash is nothing but the biased form of exponent, and minus 27 I will explain you now, okay. So in the next slide and this current slide, okay. So biased, as I said, biased exponent. So here we are not storing the actual exponent, something like if I represent in decimal number, okay, something 2.12. I am giving the example in binary system, so sorry, in decimal system, so that it will be easier for you to grasp the concept, okay. So something like this, okay. I am doing something 2.1, if I have a number like 2.12 into 10 power minus 4, and I have something like 1.23 into 10 power 5. So I have some representation like this binary number, okay. So if I want to do arithmetic calculation on this, either addition, subtraction, or whatever it may be, so I need to bring the exponent part, both the exponent part to be equal, is it not? So I need to first make, the first step is to make this one as the I need to make a comparison, is it not? Then followed by doing the calculation. is it not? So here, so if here it is negative number and here it is positive number, the exponent. So in computer system, the comparing these two is quite little difficult. Okay, so for that only we have the concept called as the biased exponent. So it means the exponent field needs to here, so generally the exponent field is represented in both positive and negative. So an extra number called as a bias is added to the actual exponent. These are the actual exponent. In this actual exponent, some number called as bias is added. So what for that addition of that bias is, so to perform the bitwise comparison of two floating point numbers. Okay, so to compare the two floating point numbers, it will be quite easier for us for the computer system if a bias value is added. Okay, so this is the theoretical concept. I will take you to the next slide of in-depth understanding of biasing. Okay, so biasing mainly is to convert the negative exponent to positive for comparing the two fractions easier in an easier manner by the computer system. Okay, so as we had seen in the previous topic, 10 power minus 4 and 10 power 5. So comparing that one is quite difficult by the computer system. So a number is added so that comparison will be done quickly. Okay, so let's have an example on that. This slide will make you a clear understanding of what that bias exponent is. Okay, suppose take an example of exponent represented in 5-digit number, is it not? So n is equal to 5. It means number of bits allotted for exponent is 5 digits. Okay, so in the in single precision IEEE representation, exponent bit is of 80. Okay, so don't confuse here. For simplicity, I am taking n is equal to 5. This is not an IEEE format. For your understanding, I am taking this example. Okay, so in IEEE format, in single precision, this exponent bit is of 8 bits, and for double precision it is 11 bit. Okay, so don't confuse that one with this example. Okay, so suppose if you take the exponent size is of 5 bit. Okay, so exponent will represent both positive and negative number. So it means what, the exponent could range from minus 2 power n minus 2 to plus 2 power n minus 1 minus 1. Okay, so that is nothing but I think I made a here in this example it's not 5, it's 4. Okay, then only this number will be correct. Okay, please correct it yourself. This is n is equal to 4. So in a 4-bit number, if the register size is of 4-bit, so what's the signed range means? It's nothing but this formula. It's nothing but minus 2 power n, 4 minus 1 is 3, to 2 power 3 minus 1, that is equal to minus 8 to 7. So the exponent could range from minus 8, minus 7, minus 6, minus 5, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 7. Okay, so that's it. So below this minus 8 or above this minus 7, we could not represent it in if the size of the bit is of 4. Okay, that's the meaning. Okay, so here in this example, the bias is nothing but MSB is a positive representation. So here the MSB is not most significant bit. I mean the greatest number is here minus 8. So you are taking the positive value as the bias. Okay, so that's nothing but plus 2 power n minus 1. So that is equal to plus 8. Okay, so in this example. And let's see the representation. Okay, suppose if we have a number like this 0.101 into 2 power minus 2. So here this binary number is represented in this format. Okay, so the exponent is given in negative number. Okay, so our concept is first we need to normalize it. So the normalize in this sense, the MSB of this number should be always 1, is it not? So bring the radix point. Radix point is nothing but this binary point here. So bring the radix point right to 1 to normalize. So we need to bring this one towards here. If we bring one towards here, what will happen? So now the number will be changed to 1.01 into 2 power minus 3, is it not? So I will take you with simple example in binary system. If we have a number like 0.23 into 10 power 3. Okay, so how to bring this 2 to the left of decimal means 2.3, is it not? 2.3 into, now the exponent will be changed, is it not? Because I have moved 1 point towards left, one number towards left. Now it will become 10 power 3. Instead of 10 power 3, it will become 10 power 2, is it not? So similarly here it's negative number. If I bring it over here, it will be decreased to 2 power minus 3. Okay, and to store this exponent value, we need to add the bias to the exponent. The exponent, the real value is nothing but minus 3 over here in this example. This is the real exponent, and for in this real exponent we are going to add the bias. Bias in this example is 8. Okay, so E is nothing but minus 3. Minus 3 plus 8 is equal to 5. So this is a binary representation, and this number gets stored over here in this 4-bit exponent. Okay, and take an example. Suppose if I am doing a calculation like one more example, 1.11 into 2 power 3. Okay, one number is this one number is this one. Okay, so here 2 power 3, not 23. Okay, so here, so if I want to perform addition, so addition means I will be comparing this one. So comparing minus 2 and 3 is quite difficult. Okay, so that's what we need a biased exponent. So convert this again into bias format. Okay, so if you convert means what you will be doing, the exponent will, it is the given number is in normalized form, no issue. Then the exponent form will be 3 plus 8. 3 plus 8 is equal to, now it is positive 11. Okay, now this 2 gets compared, 5 and 11 gets compared, and it will be either for addition or subtraction. Okay, so if we subtract means we will be subtracting this 2 numbers, or addition means we will be adding these 2 numbers, is it not? So it will be easier for the computer system to make the comparison of this biased form. So for that purpose only we are converting this given real exponent into biased exponent, and at the end, after calculation, after this calculation is over, we need to unbias it, so to get the real value. Okay, this is not the real value, is it not? We have, for storage purpose and for easy comparison of exponent, we are doing this biased. Okay, and at the real end we need to again convert back to get the real value. So how the conversion takes place means this one, the sign number, the sign bit. Okay, minus 1 to the power of s. If it is 0 means positive number, if it is 1 means we will be here in this representation we will be storing the negative number. So that's what we have, minus 1 whole to the power s into the implicit normalized form 1.m. M is nothing but the mantissa, into 2 to the power e dash, the exponent whatever the value here it stores, minus bias. Previously we did plus for storing, and to get the actual value we need to minus the bias, is it not? So suppose if this here in this example, what's here, sign bit is 0. Okay, minus 1 to the power 0 is 0 into 1 dot mantissa. So mantissa is 0 1 0 0 into 2 to the power e dash. E dash is nothing but this value. So this is nothing but in decimal 5, minus the bias in this example is 8. Okay, so 5 minus 3 is nothing but minus 3. so we are getting the original number back. Okay, so for storage purpose only in IEEE format we are using this biased conversion. So when we take that value, we need to go for this unbiasing it to get the actual value, and we are getting the actual representation. The only thing why we are going in this concept is when we handle the floating point arithmetic operations, so we will be comparing it usually the exponents for addition, subtraction and other multiplication, division operations, is it not? So in that situation, comparing the exponent is quite difficult if we go for storing the exponent as it is. Instead of to make it easier, we are going for biased exponent. Okay, so these examples won't be these examples are you won't get it from your textbook, so you please understand clearly now itself. Okay, I hope now you got the concept of biasing. Okay, now moving on to the our concept IEEE standard floating point representation single precision example, and followed by will be going for the implementation, ALU implementation of this floating point numbers. Okay, the example and a single precision. Okay, so the in single precision the exponent is 8-bit. 8-bit in the sense when we represent both positive and negative number, means it will be ranging from -2 to the power minus you apply the formula over here, this one. Okay, so this is applied over for 8-bit. Okay, so this is nothing but 2 to the -2 to the power 8 minus 1 is -7 to 2 to the power 7 minus 1. So 2 to the power -7 is nothing but minus 128 to 120. 2 to the power 7 is 128, minus 1 is 127. Okay, it ranges from this one. Okay, so in single precision we will be using the bias value as 127 instead of 128. As I told you, so in the previous topic, the bias is nothing but the biggest values positive representation. It means in this case the bias for single precision should be plus 128. Is it not? So this is how the thing will go. But here in single precision and double precision also, so we are using one number less than this biggest number. Okay, so that representation we are saying as XS 127 format. Okay, the reason behind why we are not using the bias value as 128, instead we are using 127, means some values are reserved. Okay, so if the exponent is of all 0, all the 8-bit is of 0, or all the 8-bit of exponent is all ones, that have some reserved value. Okay, so we won't use that for calculation purpose. So that's what the value gets reduced to. Instead of 128 we are using 127. Okay, so just remember, in single precision the bias is nothing but 127. Okay, that bias value we are saying in one more term called as XS 127 format. Okay, so this is the one representation for single precision. The sign bit is 0, and this is the 8-bit representation of biased exponent followed by the mantissa. So from this representation, how to get the value means as it is we followed in the previous topic. So sign bit plus or minus in the sense here it is positive. Okay, sign bit is 0, so it is understood it is positive, and by default it should follow the implicit normalized representation. That's what 1 is represented here. This one you can't find a space in this IEEE format. Okay, it is understood, as I said earlier, it should be always 1. Okay, before the decimal, before the binary point, it should be always 1, followed by this mantissa we are writing over here. Okay, so this is of how many bits in single precision, the mantissa? Anyone? Yeah, you are right, 23 bit into 2 to the power e dash. Okay, so here it is given e dash minus 127. So here the bias is 127. So e dash is what? 0010 10000. So its binary, its decimal equivalent is 40. Okay, so here 2 to the power e dash minus 127 is nothing but 40 minus 127 is 87. Okay, so that's what we are getting is 2 to the power minus 87. So this is the value represented for this a floating point number in IEEE single precision format. Okay. Similarly, for a double precision, so to store more ranges of floating point numbers, we are going for double precision. So the reason behind this, so the register size is of double. Okay, so it is 64 bit. So that's it. There is no the other concept, both are same, the only the bit range is differed. Okay, so here for sign bit, for to indicate the sign bit, one bit is allocated. Okay, one bit is allocated, and for Mantissa it is 11 bit instead of 8. Okay, in 8 is in single precision, so 11 bit with X is 1023. Okay, so in single precision we have seen X is 127. So here it is 1023 is the bias value. Okay, and Mantissa is here 52. Okay, it's a huge number, and the value represented is plus or minus same thing, one implicit I mean normalized value 1 dot Mantissa into 2 to the power e dash minus 1 minus 1023. Okay, so here this e dash is an unsigned number. Yes, since we have biased it, we will be converting all the negative numbers into positive. Okay, so now here it turns to be the positive number always. Okay, after biasing it. Why we are going for double precision? So to have more range of floating point numbers, we are moving it. Okay, that's it. And the reason behind the excess 127 and 127 in single precision and 1023 in double precision is because in IEEE we use these exponents. Okay, minus 123 and minus I mean 127 and 1023, because some values are reserved. So when we have the exponent all zeros or all ones, so that has some meaning. Okay, and see here the range is given here, the normally we should follow this range. Okay, this range, instead of this range, currently we are following this range for the exponent in single precision. So likewise in double precision, this is the range, but we are in, the implementation, the practical implementation takes the exponent value within this range. Okay, why? Because is the actual values of the exponent 0 and 25 to represent special conditions. So here this 0 and 255 for single precision we are taking. So if we for single precision exponent is of 8 bit now, if all the 8 bit is of 0, and if all the 8 bit is of 1. So if all the 8 bit is 1 means its value is nothing but 255. If all the 8 bit of exponent is 0 means its value is here 0. And if the exponent is like this, and if the mantissa is also 0 means that has some special representation. Okay, so exact 0 or to represent an infinity value, we will have these combinations. So in the next slide I think we have a tabulation that will make you this point clear. Okay, so some values, if the exponent is of all zeros or if the exponent is of all 1 followed by this mantissa condition, those values are used for some other purpose, not for floating point representation. So that's the reason behind why the number is reduced, the bias is reduced to one less number. Okay, so because these two numbers we are not using it. Okay, that has some special values. Okay, there is a table in the following slide that will make you clear what are the special conditions that have these values. Okay, so before that we have we have two aspects of floating point operation. Okay, so one is nothing but when the number is represented in an unnormalized form, that must be normalized, okay, by shifting the fractions and adjusting the exponent. And the second step is proceed for floating point operations, whatever the arithmetic operation is. The first and foremost point is, if the given number is unnormalized, means that should be normalized. Okay, I will walk you through this example. So this is here this representation is given in unnormalized value. Unnormalized means what? So before the decimal point, I mean the left of the binary point, the number is not 1. Okay, so that's unnormalized. Okay, so here in this representation, now no implicit 1 to the left of the mantissa. Okay, this is the mantissa. So before the binary point, there is no implicit 1, so it is represented as, since sign bit is 0, it is plus, and no no implicit 1, so here it is 0, mantissa as it is, into 2 to the power, here it's nothing but what's that number, it's represented in single precision. Okay, single precision means this value minus 127. Okay, so this value 1,000,1,000 is nothing but 136. Okay, you could calculate it. This is 2 power 0, 1, 2, 3, 2 power 3, sorry, this is 2 power 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 power 7. 2 power 7 is 128, and this is 8. 128 plus 8 is 136. Okay, so 136 minus the bias, so we are having 2 power 9. Okay, this is unnormalized form that needs to be converted to normalized. So in normalization, what we will do, so we need to bring this the mantissa, we need to bring this one to the left. Okay, left of mantissa. Okay, and we won't store this one, it is implicitly understood. Okay, implicit 1 to the left of the mantissa. If you bring 1 to the left, means we are shifting 3 times towards left, that's the meaning. And here we will have the dot. Okay, one dot, the remaining will speak about the mantissa. Okay, so this is how we will be normalizing it. Mantissa is normalized, and since we have shifted 3 times towards left, the exponent value is varied. Okay, so 3 times it is shifted. Okay, so now the value will be here it's please correct it, here it should be 1. Okay, now it is implicit, there is a implicit 1 to the left of mantissa. Okay, so 1 dot, here 0, 1, 1, 0, it goes on into 2 to the power. Now the exponent has to be adjusted, is it not? So since we have, in the previous example I told you, so if we have something like 0.23 into, so 10 power 3. So if we bring this 2 towards this decimal point, means it is 2.3 into the mantissa, we are bringing towards, so one digit towards the left of a decimal, so the exponent gets adjusted. Here now the exponent will become 10 power 2, is it not? So likewise here the exponent is changed from 2 power 9 to 2 power 6, because we have shifted 3 bits, 3 bits to the left of binary point. Okay, now the exponent value will be 3 bits towards the 3 bits gets added, is it not? So here exponent is here 133 minus 127. Now the final result after normalizing, it will be 2 power 6. Okay, so previously it was 2 power 9, and the exponent now it is changed to 2 power 6. Okay, the mantissa gets adjusted. Okay, this is how the we need to convert the unnormalized value to normalized value before doing any calculations. Okay, so I hope you understood how the mantissa value, how the exponent value gets changed over here. So previously it was 136. Now 3 bits has been 3 bits has been moved towards left, so it is adjusted to 133. So this value is nothing but the decimal representation 133. Okay, and now considering the range of values in single precision 32-bit number representation. Okay, so this is the 32-bit, the sign bit could be either zeros or 1, and this is the exponent exponent in represented in 8-bit. Okay, so we could mention here as e dash instead of e. Then here mantissa in 23. Okay, 23 bit, and we have the values represented. Okay, so here if the sign bit is of either 1 or 0, and if all the bits of exponent is 0 and mantissa is also 0, its value, the floating point value is nothing but either 0 or 1. If the sign bit is 0, it is plus 0. If the sign bit is 1, the value is minus 1 if exponent and the mantissa is 0. Okay, similarly, when the exponent is of all ones, all 8 bits of ones, and mantissa is 0, means its value is infinity, plus infinity or minus infinity based on the sign bit. Okay, and before talking about here, see here, if the exponent is 0 and mantissa is not 0, means it is represented in a fractional form. Okay, since there is no exponent, then definitely it will fall into a fractional form. Like 0.11. so that's it. So only the mantissa is there, so the exponent is not mentioned. Okay, since exponent is 0, so the given number mantissa will be in a fractional form. And if exponent is of all 8-bit 1 and mantissa is not 0, it means it has some value, then it is said to be not a number. So that representation is said to be not a number. Okay, there is no number, something like this. If all the exponent is of 1 and mantissa is not 0, then the implicit normalized form is this one. Okay, when a number falls within this range, okay, when the sign bit is of either 0 or 1, and if the exponent ranges from 1 to 254, and if there is some mantissa, then that number alone will be represented in an implicit normalized form, and we will be carrying out the actual floating point calculations. Okay, and likewise this is for 32-bit number. Okay, single precision 32-bit number. Okay, so the same table applies for double precision 64-bit, is it not? So double precision, let me clear that one. Okay, so 64. So for 64-bit double precision, so here the exponent will be 11. Okay, so if all 11s are 1, then this is nothing but 2 power 11 is nothing but 2000. Just calculate it. 2 power 10 is 1024. Then 2 power 11 is 1000, I mean 2048. So if it ranges from 0 to 247. Okay, so instead of 255, it is in double precision, the E value will be 2047, and here it will be exponent will range from 1 to 2046. So you please make a separate table, tabulation format for double precision. Just I am overriding here in the single precision table itself. Okay, and here it is nothing but instead of 255, in for double precision the value is 2047. These tabulations you won't get it from your textbook. Just for extra knowledge purpose, I am giving it in a tabulation format. You please make a note of it. So when you go for appearing some exams like a NET or GATE exam in the future, this will be very helpful for you. Okay, so you please write it down in a notebook. and the remaining as it is. Okay, so if it is of 0 mantissa and exponent 11 bit is of 0, it's 0 again, and if all ones 11 ones 2 0 4 7, it means, okay, all 11 bits are 1 means here it is 8 bit 9 10 11. For 64 bit double precision representation it is infinity, and similarly the thing follows same over here. Okay, and before doing the actual floating point operations we need to consider few exceptions. Okay, exceptions in the sense, so when the input and the system everything goes right, and in the middle there may be some cases like underflow, overflow, these things will arise. Okay, the processor has to handle these exceptions. Okay, some unwanted things will happen while doing the calculations. For example, if I take a 4 bit number, okay, 4 bit number will range from, so signed number means it will range from -8 to +7, is it not? Okay, so what happens while doing the calculation, if my calculation goes beyond this +7 and it goes to +8 or +9, so if my calculation comes at the end as 9, so 9, I cannot store 9 in this 4 bit representation, is it not? So that is said to be overflow. Okay, my calculation overflows beyond the range of my register capacity. Okay, that's the concept of overflow. So underflow means here in 4 bit representation I could represent only starting from -8, -7, -6 up to +7. What happens if my calculation comes something like -9, okay, -9 or -10, I cannot store this minus value in this 4 bit representation. Okay, so the register won't allow. So this concept is said to be underflow. Okay, and divide by 0. So while doing the calculation, if I have something divide by 0, that's an exception. And inexact is also there. Inexact in the sense, in the real number when we handle, so the thing keeps on going it. Okay, so there needs a situation to round off to get the normal format. Okay, there needs a round off. Okay, if my bit is of, if my register is of 4 bit, okay, after decimal point, if my mantissa is of 4 bit, and if I get the mantissa in, after the operation, if I get the mantissa in 5 bit, that 5 bit I need to reduce it into 4 bit. Okay, so I need to either round off or chop off that last one, something. Okay, so those are the exceptions. Inexact and invalid means if I perform some calculations like this. Okay, so square root of -1, these are exceptions that needs to be handled by the processor. The processor has a special register called exception register that stores all those conditions when doing the calculations. Okay, and now we will be moving for floating point arithmetic operations. Okay, so arithmetic operation, the rule applied for floating point arithmetic operations. Okay, rules applied here in this example we are discussing for single precision, the same will go for double precision also. Okay, so at the very first step, if an we need to check the exponent. Okay, so either for addition or subtraction we need to check the exponent. If it differs means we need to shift the mantissa before carrying out the addition or subtraction. For example, this is the thing given here. If I want to add two number means first I need to check out the exponent. Okay, I need to rewrite the smaller exponent. Okay, here in this example 10 power 4, 10 power 2, this exponent is smaller. I need to take this smaller exponent and have to rewrite its mantissa. Okay, to convert, I have to convert this exponent into larger exponent and need to adjust this mantissa. Okay, so rewrite the smaller exponent as like this. Okay, so this will be written as 0.0294 into 10 power 4. Then both the exponent are same, addition is carried out or subtraction whatever may be, and the resultant exponent is this one, the larger exponent. Okay, so with this little note we will see the rules applied for all the 4 basic arithmetic operations. So for addition and subtraction this rule is applied. Okay, so follow these 5 steps carefully. Okay, for carrying out floating point addition and subtraction. Okay, choose the number with the smaller exponent as we seen in the previous example. After choosing it, we need to shift its mantissa right. Okay, so I'll take you here. We have shifted the mantissa towards the right, so this is the right side. Okay, so we are shifting the mantissa to the right. Okay, until the exponents of both the numbers are equal. So 10 power 4, is it not? Then that exponent will be the resultant exponent. Okay, the exponent, set the exponent of the result equal to the larger exponent and do the calculations, addition or subtraction, and determine with that result if we determine the sign bit. Okay, so after adding, what's the sign bit, or after subtraction, what's the sign bit, that will be applied to the sign of the resultant. Okay, and normalize. So normalize the result if necessary. Suppose after addition we have something output like this 0.11 something like that we are getting, means we need to normalize it. Normalize in the sense we need to have 1 before the decimal point, then followed by 10. So if we normalize, the exponent also gets changed, is it not? Then we need to correct the exponent also. Okay, so this is the 5 steps we need to follow for addition and subtraction of floating point arithmetic. Okay, so here in these steps we didn't consider about the overflow or underflow concept, but in real computer system those things are taken into account. So in this 5 points we haven't discussed about overflow or underflow, but the computer system, the hardware which implements this concept considers the overflow, underflow and other exceptions also. Okay, and this is the rule for carrying out multiplication and division. Okay, so this is the rule for multiplication and division. Okay, I missed out this division rule. Okay, so here this is for multiplication. Okay, you please correct it. This is for multiplication. So for multiplication, add the exponent and subtract the bias. Okay, so usually for multiplication we will be adding the exponent, is it not? Only the mantissa part we will be multiplying it. Okay, so add the exponent and subtract the bias. Okay, yes, this also needs to be considered. Bias has to be subtracted, and multiply the mantissa and determine the sign. Okay, and finally normalize the result. So similarly, since multiplication is nothing but repeated addition, so division is nothing but repeated subtraction. So here for division calculations, we need to subtract the exponents. For multiplication we need to add the exponent, and the bias we need to, in division we need to add it. Here in multiplication we need to subtract the bias, and divide the mantissa and determine the sign, normalize the result. Okay, so here multiplication and division does not require alignment of mantissa the way we did for addition and subtraction. Okay, so only for addition and subtraction the alignment of mantissa is required. So here for division and multiplication there is no need for mantissa alignment. So directly adding the exponent and subtract the bias for multiplication, and for division subtract the exponent and add the bias. Okay, these 3 points we need to follow the rule for addition and subtraction. Okay, I mean multiplication and division. And before going for actual circuit design for floating point, some of the things we need to consider. Okay, so one is nothing but the God bits. Okay, God bits means what? Okay, so while adding two floating point numbers with 24-bit mantissa, so 24-bit means we are talking here about single precision. Okay, so this 23-bit is for mantissa. Okay, sorry, here 24-bit is nothing but 1 bit for sign, one sign bit, and 23 mantissa bits. So both totally we are saying about 24-bit mantissa. So what we do for carrying out floating point addition, shift the mantissa of the number with the smaller exponent to the right until the two exponents are equal. Yes or no? This implies that mantissa bits may be lost during this shift. So what it says is, in the previous example we have seen about 2.9400, is it not? So instead of 00, if I have 11, okay, so 11 into 10 power 2, is it not? So when I shift, when I convert this into 10 power 4, what will happen? So my mantissa will be changed to 0.02. So mantissa is a 4 bit, okay. So 94 into 10 power 4. Now the mantissa is shifted like this, and I lost this last 2 bit, okay. So that precision gets lost. This two bits I have lost it over here in this 4 bit representation. So that's the second point it is saying. While shifting, the mantissa bits may be lost due to the right shift, is it not? So that is, bits of precision may be shifted out of the mantissa. So I lost it. So I have lost it. If I lost means I won't get the exact calculation. My output or the final outcome will have a little deviation. So fraction of deviations might exist, is it not? Okay. So to prevent that error calculation, so due to this error calculations, lot of things gone failure, okay. I'll take you to the next slide of that, okay. So in real time, those bits play a major role, okay. Okay, to prevent that loss, the floating point operations are implemented by keeping an extra bit called as a guard bits, okay. These extra bits are kept at the LSB, least significant bit of the mantissa, okay. So this is the LSB and followed by 1 1. So these that 1 1 will be that value will be holded by this extra bits called as the guard bits for calculation purpose, okay. The arithmetic of the mantissa is performed along with this extra bits, and at the end, for storage purpose, the register allows only 4 bit 4 digits, okay. So we could the result could be normalized, and we can convert back that to 4 digits by either truncation, round off. Some methods are available, okay, because the register will allow only 24 bit mantissa. So if we get the result as 26 bit, that last 2 bits has to be, we need to round off or chop it off, okay. So this is about the guard bits, and we'll move to see the round off or the truncation, okay. So straight chopping, so the guard bits, I mean the excess bits after the calculation, it will be there in the result, that needs to be chopped, okay, directly it will be removed, okay. So that's called as straight chopping. Von Neumann rounding off, okay. That's nothing but if the resultant operation produce that guard bits, 2 extra guard bits as 0 means, we could straight away chop it off, I mean we could straight away drop it down. Or suppose if that extra bits called as guard bits has some any values, so any of that guard bits have some value 1 means, the LSB of that result should have 1, okay. So for example, if my register allows me to store only 4 values, okay. So this is the 4 values I need to store, but after operation if I get something like this, okay. So these 2 are the guard bits, okay, and in the result I need to store only the 4 bits, okay. This needs to be chopped off using this straight chopping, whereas von Neumann, if I have this extra bits, any bits as 1 means, so this will be chopped off, but here instead of this 0 I will be storing 1. So that's the concept here in von Neumann round off, okay. So if any of the guard bit is 1, it's LSB, this is the LSB of the result, that will be it will retain that 1, okay. That's the concept. So round off means if there is a 1 in the MSB of the guard bit, then a 1 is added to the LSB, okay. It means what? If I have something like this 1 1 0 0 1 0, okay. Suppose the guard bits or the extra bits has 1 0, and if there is this the MSB of the guard bits, is it not? So the last 2 bits are extra bits, and in that last 2 bits the MSB is 1. If it is 1 means, so what I need to store in the register only this 4 bits. So here I will be rounding off to 1, okay. The LSB of this bit will be 1. Suppose if I have instead of this 1 0, if I have 0 1, so I will be round off this to so here MSB is 0, so I won't make any changes here, the value will be in the LSB as 0 itself, okay. when I round off like this. While rounding off, if I have the God bits MSB as 0 means as it is 0. If it's MSB is of 1 means I will be retaining that in the LSB of the resultant bit. Okay, so this is how the truncation and rounding off happens in the floating point arithmetic operation. Okay, now I'll take you a simple case study about the major role it plays when we chop off or round off the extra bits. Okay, so you just explore more about this. Okay, there is a rocket called as Ariane 5 rocket. Okay, in I think around 1996 or 91, that date I forgot it, you just explore it. So that rocket has been self-destructed after launching in 37 seconds and made a loss of $370 million. Okay, so due to integer overflow. Okay, due to integer overflow lead to software malfunction. So the software for this Ariane 5 is it utilizes the older software of Ariane 4. Okay, so that is of smaller in size. Okay, so the Ariane 5 after launching off, it is not able to handle this the software inside that is not able to handle the high reading due to integer overflow. So that leads to the loss of this rocket. Okay, so due to integer overflow. And one more patriotic missile impression. So this is in US missile. So the during the Gulf War, it was used in South Korea to attack the missile, to counter-attack the missile from Iraq. Okay, so due to some chop off. Okay, so due to chop off concept, since that register size is of 24 bits, so due to that chop off, it leads to a significant error of 0.34 seconds. That leads to civilians loss of life to 28 number. Okay, so chopping off the bit, okay, that also plays a major role when the calculation is of bigger in number. When larger when the calculation is of larger in size, the chopping off will play a major role. Okay, that leads to a big disaster under this patriotic missile impression. Okay, and one more, Gangnam Style, as everybody will be knowing it. Okay, so here the YouTube has programmed a counter of a counter means how many persons are visiting or viewing that video. Okay, so that YouTube implements 32-bit number system, but due to its popularity, it breaks that range. The Gangnam Style break its range. Okay, this exceeded YouTube's view limit. Okay, so 32-bit has some limitations. Okay, so that it crossed that limitation, the view crossed that limitation, and prompting the YouTube to upgrade it into 64-bit number. And if you go and see, you could see these many views or these many views happen for this Gangnam Style. Okay, this is represented in 64-bit number and not by the 32-bit number, cannot accommodate these many big numbers. Okay, so the numbers will play a huge role and impact on designing the software, and of course truncating the extra bits in floating point numbers, chopping off will also play a vital role. Okay, with those note, we'll be going to see the implementation of floating point number. Okay, so please pay more attention to this circuitry diagram. It's given in your textbook. So here we are going, this is for floating point addition and subtraction. Okay, so this will handle both floating point addition and subtraction operation. So the circuitry diagram, here A and B, two numbers of 32-bit representation. 32-bit means single precision. So S of A is nothing but sign bit of first number. This is the exponent, and mantissa similarly like this. So it follows some steps. Okay, the very first step is when we go for addition and subtraction, I told you exponent, we need to compare the exponent. Okay, so using the 8-bit subtractor. 8-bit is enough because the single precision exponent is of 8-bit in size. So compare the exponent and you will be getting the a difference. Okay, so that difference needs to be shifted, is it not? So suppose in decimal number, if you take exponent as 10 power 2 and this is 10 power 10 power 4. Okay, if you subtract 10 power 2 and 10 power 4, you will get minus 2. Okay, so here n is equal to 2, so 2 bit you need to shift it and sign is of minus. So minus means what? Minus will, this sign will also play a huge role in deciding the resultant exponent. Okay, minus in the sense this EB dash is bigger number. So if we get positive, for example 10 power 4 minus 10 power 2, we will get the answer as 2. So the sign bit is positive. It means E dash A is bigger number, so that will be given to the resultant exponent, is it not? So sign bit is playing a major role, and here this value n is equal to 2. So how many portions we need to shift the mantissa? Okay, so here in this swap network we are giving both the mantissa, and in this mantissa based on the sign bit of this resultant. So if the sign if the sign is negative means what? This mantissa B has to be shifted, right? Okay, so that will be given to the shifter. Okay, so what happens if the sign bit is of 0? So 0 means this EA mantissa A, this mantissa A is the I think yes, here 10 power 2, I mean 10 power 4 minus 10 power 2 is positive number, is it not? So positive, let me take here, I am a bit confused. Okay, so sign bit 4 steps are there. So first step is sign bit is sent to swap network. So swap network. Okay, consider this example A and B. Sign bit is 0 on when this situation is happen. Okay, so when E dash of A is greater than E dash of B, then sign bit is 0. So in this example, whether which one this sign bit is 1. Okay, in this example, because E dash of A 10 power 2 is less than 10 power 4. Okay, then this needs to be shifted. Mantissa, this mantissa has to be shifted. So then MA sent to shifter for shifting the mantissa. Otherwise, if we consider suppose for example, if we consider this A is of 10 power 4 and B is of 10 power 2. Now what happens? EA dash is greater than EB. Then this needs to be shifted, is it not? This mantissa has to be shifted. So MB sent to the shifter. Okay. That's the thing. Based on the sign bit, this the thing happened here. The shifting is there, how many bits needs to be shifted is given here. Okay, and then for addition and subtraction, mantissa A and B is given here, and there is a control there is a combinational circuit to control the operation. Okay, addition and subtraction, whether you are doing add or subtraction, and also sign bit. Okay, sign bit also you are placing it. So sign bit plays an important role. Okay, so here, so we will be coming back to step 2 here. Currently I am discussing about step 3. So mantissa addition and subtraction. If sign bit of SA is equal to 1 and SB is equal to 0. Okay, so here we are speaking about this sign bit in this control logic. If it means what? SA is equal to 1 means what? This given number A is of negative number and B is a positive number, and if the operation to be carried out, this operation addition and subtraction, if the operation is A minus B, so what does it mean? Here A is already negative, is it not? Minus A and B is positive. It means what? Minus A minus B. That's nothing but addition. Okay, so add mantissa, because minus A and minus B is adding A and B and have the resultant sign to be negative. is it not? Suppose if both are of positive number, if both the given number is positive number and the operation is subtraction, you actually subtracting the mantissa, and the sign bit of the resultant is based on this operation. So after subtraction, if we get the positive number, the sign bit is SR is equal to 0, or if the result is of negative number, means the SR sign will be 1. Okay, I hope you are following with me. And now the second step is nothing but the resultant exponent. So after shifting, we will be taking the larger exponent, is it not? 10 power 4 is the larger exponent, we will be taking it for the result, for the resultant exponent, is it not? So E dash is equal to E dash of A. So this is E dash of A. So when we will take this value, if this is bigger than this one, in this example here E dash is equal to E dash of B, we are taking it because this E dash of A is smaller than E dash of B. So 10 power 4 is bigger. So 10 power 4 will be given to the resultant exponent. So that's given in the multiplexer, the two exponents that along with the sign bit given, and that will decide which one is the bigger or the larger exponent. Okay, and this last three steps. So what that last three steps is, after addition, we need to, after performing addition or subtraction, we need to normalize the result. Suppose if the result is of like this we are getting, okay, and the exponent is of something so just randomly I am picking this number. Okay, so in single precision, the result should be normalized, is it not? So it has to be bring back like this, 1.1 into 1.10 into 2 power 3, is it not? We need to normalize like this. For that concept only we have this normalization. Okay, so if we have after the addition and subtraction, if we get the normalized result, means that's it, no need to do anything. Otherwise if we get something like this, means we need to normalize it. So leading zeros or deductors, it will detect the leading zeros, or here there is no leading zero but one is there, so we need to normalize it by bringing back this one towards here. Okay, so when we normalize, the exponent also gets altered. So the number of bits altered here, it is given, and again the 8-bit subtractor will do the exponent adjustment, and finally we will get this final result exponent as ER dash. Okay, that's nothing but E dash minus x. X is number of bits needs to be adjusted, and this is the normalized result. We will be getting it in MR. Okay, so that's it about the implementation of floating point addition and subtraction unit. Okay, this is for addition and subtraction, not for multiplication and division. Okay, so final 4 steps are there. Okay, so first step is check the exponent. Based on that exponent value, we need to shift the mantissa, and the second step is we need to choose the larger exponent as the resultant exponent, followed by the actual operation carrying out and normalizing the result and mantissa and the exponent. Okay, these 4 steps. That's it about today's topic, and quite it is a bit lengthy, of course. That's it. We'll have a quick assessment on that. Okay, so little assessment. One assessment I have worked out for your understanding, because this is the first time you are working out, and the remaining you have to do it. Okay, so in a single precision 32-bit number, if this is the representation, so what's its value? You need to get its value. You will be knowing the formula. Okay, so minus 1 into s 1.m into e power this one. Okay, so here this is a single precision, is it not? So it means it is an implicit normalized value. Okay, so since sign bit is of 0, it is positive, then implicit 1 dot this mantissa into 2 to the power this value. This value is nothing but 131 minus 127. So that's nothing but this one. Okay, similarly you do this for this. for this exercise. Okay, all ones. So here it is all ones, and you have to refer to the table which I gave you already. So it's quite different from this one. I gave a clue. Here it is all ones. Okay, so and work it out what's that number. And similarly the same thing for 64-bit double precision. So what's its value and what's this value. So here it is of all ones. Okay, you just check it out, and here you need to calculate it. Okay, so that's it about floating point operations which follows IEEE standard single precision and double precision. So single precision takes 32-bit number with one sign bit and 8 exponent and 23 mantissa, whereas double precision, you keep that in mind, 64-bit in size with one sign bit and 11 exponent and 52 mantissa. Okay, so with this our second unit is over. I hope you understood all the concepts whatever we have discussed. If you have any doubt, you please contact me at any time, and I'll meet you in the next session with third unit. Okay, till then, thank you all.